In this video, we are going to work through a couple of the ambiguous cases for the law of sines, the case where you've got two triangles. So first of all, the law of sines is written as ratios. So the sine of angle A is to side A as the sine of angle B is to side B. Is the same as the sine of angle C is to side C. And that's with the labeling where angle measures A, B, and C are opposite from their sides. Okay, so for more on that, look at my previous video. But what we want to do is number 5 here. So number 5, I have an angle of 43.1 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and just drop down an angle that's about 43.1. So 43.1 is equal to A. Opposite is going to be 187.5. Let's put B in next. So side B is going to be either one of the two that make up angle A. Let's go ahead and let it be the one on the bottom here. So B is 187.5. And so that's going to leave us with, oh, whoops, I did that opposite, didn't I? Let me get rid of that guy. B is 241.5. Let's make that a little bit longer, and then we can put angle or side A in here as 187.5. Okay, so that means that we have, so we look at our given information in order, an angle, a side, and a side. So we've got angle, side, side, which is our possible two-case triangle. So as we're looking for, what are we missing here? B as an angle, C as an angle, and then side C. We're actually looking for two possible constructions. So we're going to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and go through and do what we can do. I can't start with an angle measure. So instead, I've got to use this paired information and grab two of my ratios to do a law of sines. I'm going to use the information for A, and I'm going to use the information that I have for B. So step number 1, let's go ahead and apply the law of sines. So the law of sines, here comes the A ratio. So the sine of 43.1 is to side A 187.5 as, and now we're going to do a B ratio. So the sine of B is to side B 241.5. Going to go ahead and cross multiply as I'm working to isolate the sine of B and then ultimately angle B. So as I cross multiply, I end up with 241.5 times the sine of 43.1, all divided by 187.5 is equal to the sine of B. I'm going to go ahead and calculate this here on the left to make sure I've got a valid sine ratio. So that's going to be 241.5 times the sine of 43.1 divided by 187.5. And sure enough, I do. So I can go ahead and apply a sine inverse to that. So a sine inverse is going to give me, so I want the sine inverse of this stuff is going to give me angle B. So over here on my calculator, I can do second to get sine inverse. Then you can either arrow up to your last answer, or if you can't do that, do second, and then the little negative at the bottom will give you the previous answer, and then hit enter. So we end up with a possible angle B of 61.6 degrees. But I applied a sine inverse, and I know that sine inverse can only give me values between negative 90 and 90. What it gave me is 61.6, so it gave me this angle. It cannot give me the obtuse angle. The obtuse angle is going to be on the other side. It's going to line up here, which is this angle right here. So to figure out the second angle, B sub 2, I take 180 and I subtract the first one, 61.6. So I'm going to do 180, not 189. So 180 minus 61.6 to find the second angle. They're always supplementary, which is nice. So my second angle is 118.4. 4. Let's go ahead and finish with the first construction. So I'm going to go ahead and finish with the first construction. The original angle that I got from sine inverse is the acute angle. And then I'm going to go through and do the second construction with the obtuse. And we find the obtuse angle by doing 180 minus the acute. So if I continue with my work finding the all the values for the acute one, I have, let's go ahead and just write in what we've got so far. We've got angle B. So B sub 1 is 61.6 degrees. So I still need angle C and side C. I can find angle C now pretty easily. So I know that angle C, this is C sub 1 anyway, is going to be 180 minus the two angles A and B. So 43.1 minus 61.6. So minus A and B. So this is going to be 180 minus 43.1 minus 61.6. And that's because the sum of my angles, whoops, minus 43.1 minus 61.6, because the sum of all those angles equals 180. Okay, so there's C1. So C1 is 75.3. 75.3. So that leaves me with side C to find. To find side C, I'm going to need to do a law of sines again, step 3. Law of sines. And I need to use the C ratio. So the sine of angle C, 75.3, divided by side C, which I don't know, is equal to, go back to your given information, just in case you screwed something up, sine of, we're going to do my A ratio, 43.1 over 187.5. So we cross multiply, I get C times the sine of 43.1 is equal to 187.5 times the sine of 75.3. So side C is going to be 187.5 times the sine of 75.3, just enough room, divided by the sine of 43.1. Okay, so all into my calculator. Phew. Okay, so 187.5 times the sine of 75.3, that was angle C, divided by the sine of 43.1. Okay, this gives us side C, 265.43. So C is about 265.43. 265.43. All of this is for the acute case, so the acute B. We're going to go through this again and re-find these values. C, we already found the second angle B and angle C for the obtuse case. So we're going to do the obtuse case next. If you haven't finished writing everything down, go ahead and pause. Write everything down. I need some more room to work, so I'm going to erase some of this so I've got some more room to work. So you might want to pause. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a little more room. So we can go ahead and start now with, I want to erase everything. You'll see why here in a second. I'm just going to give myself some room here. Okay, so now I want to do the obtuse case. Let's do the obtuse case all in a different color. I'm going to do the obtuse case all in blue. So for the obtuse B, B2, which we found over here, 118.4. We can go ahead and start by finding, so step 2, we can go ahead and find the new, so this is 118.4. We can find the new angle C. So angle C is 180 minus A minus B2. So that's going to be 180 minus angle A, 43.1, minus my obtuse B2, 118.4. Okay, good. So my second C2 is 18.5. So this is going to be 18.5 degrees. Step number 3 is to find side C. side C2. That's what we did over here. And as I look over here, I would be applying the law of sines to find this, right? So law of sines, and I would incorporate A's ratio. So the sine of 43.1 divided by A 187.5 is equal to the sine of C, which is 18.5, divided by side C. Well, as I look at my work over here, everything is the same except this angle. So I can actually just replace that angle, this guy, with angle C. So that's going to be 18.5. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to arrow up and I'm going to grab that calculation. There it is, and hit enter. If you're not able to do that, let me hit clear. And from here, I'm going to edit. And then I'm going to type in 18.5. If you couldn't do that, let me hit clear once. You can do second entry. That's not the one I want. Second entry again. And it scrolls through your last entries. I want this one, the other C length that I found, but I don't want angle 75.3. Instead, I want the other angle of 18.5. So I'm going to replace that with 18.5 and then hit enter. How super nice is that? So that finds me my other length, C2, 87 point, I'm rounding to one decimal place, 1, so 87.1. So what I've got in blue are the values for the obtuse case. Number 6 is similar, except we only want to find the triangle for the obtuse angle. So let's go ahead and start by constructing our triangle. So 49 degrees is about like this. So this is A equals 49 degrees. Opposite A is this guy. So this is going to be 27 is side A. Side B is 28. So the ones that we're missing are C, so angle C, side C, and angle B. And again, if I look at the given information, I have angle, side, side. These are the trickier ones. That's why we're doing more examples of them. So yes, there are 2 cases. So we definitely have 2 cases. So let's go ahead and start off. I have to start with the law of sines. I don't have enough information about my angles. So step number 1, law of sines. We're going to do an A ratio and a B ratio. That's an S. Okay, so law of sines. The A ratio is, I'm being picky with my S. There we go, law of sines. Okay, so the A ratio is the sine of 49 over side A is equal to the sine of, I don't know angle B, over 28. So if I cross multiply, I get 28 times the sine of 49 divided by 27. If we're lucky, this will not be a valid trig ratio. So let's go ahead and put this in here. So 28 times the sine of 49 divided by 27. But it is a valid trig ratio, so I need to go ahead and apply sine inverse to this. So I really need the sine inverse of this. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in sine inverse, and then you can arrow up or do a second with the little negative sign. I'm going to arrow up and then hit enter. So we get angle B. B1 is about 51.5 degrees, but that's the acute angle. So that is all that 51 right here. That's all that sine inverse can give me is the acute angle. But I know there's also an obtuse angle with the same sine value. And that one's going to be 180 minus the value I just found of 51.5. The obtuse case is the one that we want. So B2 is equal to, so we're going to do 180 minus 51.5. 128.5. It says the obtuse angle only. So let's go ahead and work on the obtuse case here. So step number 2 for the obtuse case, we're going to ignore this one and we're going to use that for B. Now I can find the missing angle C. So C is 180 minus A minus the obtuse case for B. So that's going to be 180 minus A, which was 49, minus the obtuse B, which is 128.5. And we get 2.5, tiny. So C is about 2.5 degrees. Let's put these up here. 2.5 for C. The obtuse B was 128.5. And that just leaves me with side C to find. So step number 3, I'm going to do another law of sines. Law of sines. And I need to use an A ratio and a C ratio this time. So for my law of sines, I'm going to do the sine of A, so 49 over side A, 27, is equal to the sine of angle C, 2.5 over side C. So if I do some cross multiplying here, I get C times the sine of 49 is equal to 27 times the sine of 2.5. So C is 27 sine 2.5 divided by sine 49. There's a lot of stuff going on. So let me put a square around that. That's what's going into my calculator. So 27 sine of 2.5 divided by the sine of 49. And we get that last measure for side C. If I round to one decimal place, I get 1.6 or 1.56. So 1.6.